You may have heard by now of this idea called Coast Fire. This idea where you can start living like you're financially independent before you're financially independent. You may even have seen my last couple of videos on the topic, but you're not sure how this applies to you and if it's even something you can achieve. Well, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's find out. Shemai guys, my name's Davmos. I'm here to educate and inspire you to make the most of your money, to live generously and impact the world beyond just yourselves. Everywhere I look, I see people that are more successful than me, people who have more money than me, people who average more points per game than me, people who, dare I say it, even have more free time than me. But I am someone who has quit their job and I'm now building a life for myself that I don't want to retire from, and I just wanted to share that with you on YouTube. Now, I didn't do it by building $1 million company or hustling my tail off. I just spent years of living below my means and investing the difference. You might be similar. You might have a sneaky tendency to think there's always more to see, there's always more to do, there's always more to have. But you haven't quite taken the plunge of quitting your job yet, and you're wondering how this Coast Fire malarkey can apply to you. What does Coast Fire look like for you, and how to build a life that you don't want to retire from? Coming up. Also coming up on this video is the results of the 300 subscriber Bitcoin giveaway, so hang around until the end, although I think you know who you are. Let's start with some people for whom Coast Fire might not be appropriate right now. It might be something for them further down the line. People who love their jobs. Now, I never loved my job as a teacher. When I was a teacher, I thought, yeah, it was okay. There were some perks like the holidays and like trips to Japan and Amsterdam and Germany, but I never really loved it. If you are one of the lucky few that happens to love their job, like my mate Tom, then Coast Fire may not be for you right now. If you love your job, then you are winning at life. Congratulations. So who else might Coast Fire not be quite right for? We've got people who love their jobs, and that's about it. Let me know in the comments if you disagree. I can't think of anybody else that might benefit from pursuing Coast Fire as a financial goal. If you want more time in your life to do the things that you want to do with the people that you want to do them at a time that suits you, then Coast Fire may be the right thing for you. Now, a word of warning here, even if you have all the time in the world, then the Lion King was right. There's still far too much to see than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. Take it from someone who has a lot of time to do the things that he wants to do. There's never enough time. But we're all about trying to get more of our time back here. So before we get any further, let's have a quick recap of what Coast Fire is. Now, Coast Fire is this idea of reaching financial independence, but the slow way, the easy way of doing it is when you build up enough of an investment pot that by the time your retirement date comes, that investment pot will have grown to your FI number, which is roughly taken to be 25 times your expenses. So if you've got yearly expenses of £25,000, for example, then you multiply that by 25 and you end up with £625,000. And that will be your FI number. So you reach Coast Fire when your investments are big enough so that they will grow to that £625,000 by the time that you want to retire. So it means that you don't have to contribute any more and you can start making adjustments to your life to give yourself some options way before you're financially independent. I've got more details on how to calculate your Coast Fire number in that video right here. The problem is with FIRE is that we waste a lot of our lives trying to reach this point of financial independence. And a wise man once said, Coast Fire solves the problem of waiting to live. So what do you do when you decide that Coast Fire is right for you? What are you going to do with all these options in your life? Before you start thinking about calculating your number, which can be both exciting and exhilarating and possibly depressing, then you need to make sure that your day-to-day finances are in order. You need to make sure that you are spending less than you earn or earning more than you spend, and you are investing the difference wisely. I'll assume that seeing as you've discovered my content, then you have at least a vague passing interest in your personal finances, that you've already got this step sorted. So let's move on to the next thing. You're going to need to calculate your FI number. The calculation for calculating your Coast FI number is available in that video right there. What you've got to remember is that that is just a vague estimate, a rough guide. It's not a hard and fast number. It's not something that you could be wed to. It's just a guide, a goal to be aiming for. And I address some of the issues with it in this video right here. Now, after you've worked that all out, it is time to start planning your life. Now, the first basic step is find your passion. Find the one thing that you were born to do, and then step number 2 is go out and do it. Just kidding. In case you didn't realize, the last 2 steps were a joke. I've always been slightly envious of people that are focused on doing one thing. They are dedicating their whole life to do this one thing and be the best at that one thing. I'm kind of envious because I know that will never be me. I will never be that person who can only focus on one thing. I like to do all of the things. I've even got a physical list of things that I don't want to do, jobs that I don't want to do, and on it is paramedic and stable boy. That's literally like the only 2 things that I wouldn't want to do in the world. I've got that list because I need a reminder to focus and a reminder that I don't actually want to do everything. Here's what I think you should do if you want more time to do the things that you think you want to do in life. You've either got to buy yourself some assets so that they actually cover some of your living expenses, or you need to save up some money, maybe 6 months worth of expenses, so that you can have that runway. Now, if you buy assets which will cover 20% of your monthly. If you buy assets that will cover 20% of your monthly costs, then hey presto, you can now start working 4 days a week instead of 5, and you'll have an extra day to do the things that you want to do. The other option is to save up maybe a couple of months, maybe 6 months worth of expenses, save up, remortgage your house, so that you don't have to have a job. You can have 6 months going off to do whatever it is you want to do. You could write a book. You can go and learn to scuba dive in Honduras. You could
start a YouTube channel.
Travel around Europe. You can do whatever it is you want to do for 6 months, and then all you've got to do is just come back and re-plug into the life that you left. You name it, you've now got time for it. Another option you have is to live on a smaller percentage of your paycheck. Now, I did a combination of all 3 of these leading up to my quitting my job. I started living on less than 80% of my take-home pay, and what happened was I could go 4 days a week. I could take an extra day off. I had Monday off so I could hang out with my daughter, and it was absolutely fantastic. The next thing I did was I bought a rental property. The rental property covered then about 20% of our costs, which meant that I could go another day if I wanted to. And then I saved up a year's worth, well actually, I remortgaged my house. So I had a year's worth of runway where I could just not earn anything. I could do a podcast, I could do a YouTube channel, whatever it was I wanted to do. I could just do that for a year, and if I didn't make any money doing it, then that would be absolutely fine. Now that you've got your time back, it is now time to start doing the things that you think you want to do. Now, a word of warning here, like I said at the beginning, that you are going to need some kind of restrictions. You're going to need some kind of containment, because if you let yourself go wild, then you'll end up not doing very much. I had this realization. Unfortunately, it took me about a year of having all this free time thinking I can literally do anything, and I didn't end up doing as much as I'd like to do because I was chasing this way, chasing that way. And for somebody to tell me that you need to focus on one thing, that was like somebody like crushing my soul. I was like, I can't do that. But you do need boundaries. Seth Godin used the analogy of playing ice hockey on a frozen lake. Now, if you've watched any ice hockey, it's in a closed area and it's got boards that the puck will bounce off. If you're playing ice hockey on a frozen lake with no boards and you miss the puck, then you've got a long skate to go and get it. It is not the same game. It's not ice hockey, and it's rubbish. So you do need some kind of parameters on yourself. Now, I went for the parameter of I want to become a better communicator. So let me know in the comments, what do you think? Am I getting any better? Now that you've got some kind of constraints, you can start doing the things that you want to do. Whether it's write a book, start writing a book. If it's learning a language, buy a language learning book, book some lessons on italki, and start learning the language. If you want to start a side hustle, just do it.
Just do it! Yes, you can!
It's only by getting started doing these things that you're going to figure out what it is you want to do and what it is actually you might not want to do. You might do these things for a while and realize, no, actually, this is not the thing that I thought it would be. I thought this was going to be some great thing. Learning a language was going to be a wonderful experience. I was going to be fluent in 3 months, and it's actually really hard work. Don't just give up because it's hard work. But if you realize, I hate learning Hungarians. You can always try something else. It's only by getting started and doing these things, you're going to figure out what are the things that you actually want to do and what are the things you just think you want to do. Experiment, try different things, and let me know in the comments what you're doing. The point of this experiment is to decide whether or not you want to pursue something before going at it 100%. If you decide you want to start a podcast and you make 10 episodes and you think, podcasting's not really my thing, then you can just do something else. Another pro tip for you is to use some of your free time to start earning an alternative source of income. Now, if you've decided that you're going to go full hog and quit your job completely because you've got 6 months of runway, then if you've got a part-time job or if you've got some kind of way of making an income, then that can extend essentially that 6 months of runway that you've got to 8, 10, 12 months or even 3 years. I'm not going back just yet. It could end up earning you way more than what you would in your day job if it works out well, or alternatively, it could just earn you a little something to just keep you going until you reach that point of full retirement, when you reach that point of coast fire. If you find out after going from 5 days to 0 days that 0 days is maybe a little bit too little work, then you can always just go back 1 day or 2 days. You can find the right balance that works for you because of the options that you've given yourself. Coast Fire gives you these options. Remember, Coast Fire can be the beginning of your journey to figure out what it is you want to do in life. But alternatively, you can start figuring that out before you reach Coast Fire. It's all about designing a life that you don't want to retire from. If you don't do something different, then you can't expect things to change. In the words of Aerosmith, life's a journey, not a destination. How high can you fly with broken wings? I don't really get the point of that second line. Now for the results and the winner to be announced of the 300 subscriber giveaway. I am giving £30 worth of Bitcoin to Matthew Swaffield for this comment right here. Matt, get in touch and send me your Bitcoin wallet address and I'll send that Bitcoin right over. If you haven't watched my first 2 videos on Coast Fire yet, then what are you waiting for? See you in a sec. Keep that out.
So now that I found